name's Dan DeFelippi, and I'll be speaking at the 12th Annual Fraud Summit 2011 in Sydney, Australia. I'll be answering a few questions. In my view, what motivates perpetrators to commit fraud? Well, obviously, the primary motivator is going to be some sort of gain, some financial gain, usually. But it really depends on the type of criminal that we're talking about. So you might have the type of person who's an employee. They're a great employee, they don't steal, they're not a criminal, but they might be backed up into a corner. They come into some sort of financial hardship where they need money, they need it quickly, and they can't think of another way of doing it. Their only motivator is the money. They're not out there for anything else. And they often think that they can pay it back, or that they can solve the situation before they get caught, and that usually isn't the case. Then you have people like me who, of course, I was motivated by the financial gain, but it was a lot more than that. I was there for the challenge. I was finding loopholes and doing things that I didn't think anybody else was doing, learning things that, I was kind of on the edge there, figuring things out. It was adrenaline rush, going into a store, pretending to be somebody else, that level of risk, the thrill of it. And easy money becomes almost a drug-like addiction. Once you get that taste of easy money, it's really hard to stop. You worked as a Secret Service consultant in the USA. What are some tips that you can share to prevent fraud? As far as consumer fraud goes, really you need to be proactive. Monitor your accounts, watch your bank statements, make sure you don't see anything tricky. I check my accounts almost daily. Be careful when you're using credit cards and ATM machines. If something seems suspicious, just walk away. Learn about fraud that you could be a target of. Learn about what people are doing, what criminals are doing. Keep up on the information. From a business sense, always make sure you have controls in your business to prevent even the most trusted people from committing fraud. If somebody's backed into a corner, they may do something they wouldn't normally do. They may think that fraud's the only way, and you need to have controls in place to prevent that. You're speaking at the 12th Annual Fraud Summit 2011 to be held on the 27th and 28th of June in Sydney. What are some key areas that you will be addressing in your presentation? Well, my presentation is entitled Understanding the Psychology of Offenders, and that's what I'll be speaking about. I'll be talking about how offenders think, how they act, the methods they use to carry out the fraud, and the methods they use to try to prevent from being caught, the mistakes they make, because everybody makes mistakes, and how you can use those mistakes against them to detect and prevent fraud and catch criminals after the fact. I'll be sharing some stories from my experiences, and I'll be fielding questions, of course. I'm always open to answering questions. And I'll probably sneak a little statistics in there, a little bit of scientific research, but I'll try to stay away from the dry, boring stuff. You're also facilitating a post-conference workshop at our Fraud Summit on the 29th of June in Sydney on understanding the psychology of offenders. Why must delegates attend your workshop, and what can they expect to gain from it? Well, I have to say, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be able to do a lot of things in there that I just can't do in the live presentation. In the workshop, we'll be actually doing some live demonstrations, jumping into some of these fraud chat rooms, seeing what actually goes on in there. Obviously, we can't participate, but there's certainly a lot to be learned from just monitoring and witnessing what happens. I'm sure we'll see some stolen credit cards and bank accounts and that kind of stuff. We'll also be going in more depth on some of the topics that I just won't have time to cover in the presentation. Also, again, I'll be sharing some of my own stories, some of the longer ones that won't fit into the presentation. And I will field almost any question. If you have any questions about my experiences, no matter how personal you think it is, I most likely will answer it.